Hi there and welcome to this video. It's Martin Rapley here and I'm going to talk about planning permission and importantly discharging planning conditions. On some of your projects you may need to get planning permission, particularly if you are extending a property. If you are converting a commercial property into a residential property, if you're changing the use of a property, if perhaps you're taking a house and turning it into a sui generis HMO. Just because you've got planning consent doesn't necessarily mean that you can just get straight on with the work. It's really important that you have a look at the letter that comes through with your planning permission. There will typically be a number of conditions on that letter. Typically, the first condition is that you have to commence your works within 3 years. Typically, the second condition is a list of all of the drawings against which you have to carry out your work, the drawings that you submitted for the planning application. I'd encourage you to have a look at the subsequent planning conditions. Sometimes there may be no more, but sometimes there can be quite a few, and I've seen projects where there can easily be another 10 or 12 or even more. It's really important that you read and understand all of those other conditions, and it's really important to double check how and when you need to discharge those conditions. If you don't get that right, you can massively hold up the process of the whole redevelopment, the refurbishment. The things you're particularly looking for are anything that says prior to commencement of works. So prior to commencement of works, provide this additional information. That means that you need to be getting on with whatever you need to do to discharge that condition absolutely immediately. Discharging conditions takes as long to see through the process as a typical planning permission. So it takes 8 weeks. But by the way, you've got to get them some information. Maybe you need some further support from your architect, or maybe there's another consultant you need to employ. So you can very easily find there's 4 weeks worth of work, then the application, and that takes 8 weeks, and 3 months have gone by before you can actually start any work on site. Look out for conditions that say prior to final occupation. If you haven't discharged those conditions before anyone occupies the building, you are in breach. Now, there's a little bit of flexibility perhaps if you're going to rent the property out, although I wouldn't encourage it. But importantly, if you are going to sell the property, your purchaser's solicitor will need you to verify that you've discharged that condition before their client purchases the property. And again, that same kind of process, allow at least 3 months for it. In reality, I would encourage you to try and discharge all planning conditions as soon as you've got hold of them. Bearing in mind you're going to have to pay every time you make a new submission. If you've got 10 conditions to discharge, you don't want to be paying 10 times. You want to really be discharging in all 10 in 1 or 2 chunks, because that keeps your cost down. But importantly, the earlier you discharge them, the quicker it gets them out of the way, and it's one less thing to think about and worry about at the end. So really important that you understand those conditions. Make sure that they are workable conditions and you can actually deliver what those conditions are asking for, and then make sure you understand the sequence that you need to discharge them so that you're not holding up your build as a result of missing something that has to be discharged before you can start working. Please do leave any other comments relating to this below, and I'll come back and chip in if I need to. Like and share the video, and I'll catch up with you on another one soon.